Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Dylan was still reeling from the shocking events of the day when his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and froze for a moment, Will's name flashing back at him, a reminder that the night was far from over. Without hesitation, he answered. "Hey, Will," he said, voice calm but edged with curiosity. "Dylan, you've got to come over tonight. I need to talk, and honestly, I think this can't wait," Will said, urgency heavy in his tone. Dylan raised an eyebrow. An overnight invitation at this hour was unusual, even for Will. "Tonight?" Dylan asked, trying to gauge the situation. "Yes, tonight," Will insisted. "There are things that can't wait until tomorrow. I need you here." Dylan felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Something about Will's tone suggested it wasn't just casual chatter. There was tension, expectation, maybe even a little desperation. By the time Dylan arrived, night had settled like a blanket over the city, softening the edges of the skyline, but amplifying the suspense that always seemed to surround Will. As he stepped through the door, he immediately sensed that something significant was unfolding. Will looked unusually serious, pacing back and forth in the living room, hands clasped behind his back. "I'm glad you came," Will said, his voice unusually steady. "I wouldn't have asked if it weren't important." Dylan nodded, studying Will carefully. "Okay, what's going on?" he asked, a subtle edge of wariness in his tone. Will took a deep breath, then gestured toward the large set of blueprints spread across the table. "I've been thinking about the fashion house, about the direction it's taking, and I think it's time for a change. But I need someone I can trust to help me. Someone who gets it. Dylan, I want you to be involved in this next step." Dylan's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected this. An overnight invitation leading straight into a proposition of such magnitude was intense. "You want me involved?" "How exactly?" he asked cautiously. "Not just involved," Will said, leaning closer. "I want your input, your perspective. I need you to help shape what comes next. This isn't just about clothes or trends. It's about identity, legacy, and the kind of mark we leave. I can't do this alone, Dylan. And frankly, I wouldn't want to." The weight of Will's words sank in. Dylan realized the invitation wasn't casual. It was strategic, a call for collaboration, but also a test of loyalty. He glanced at the blueprints again, seeing sketches of bold designs, daring choices, and a vision that demanded confidence and creativity. "I'll help," Dylan said finally, voice steady, though his mind raced with possibilities. "But we need to move carefully. Any misstep and, well, you know how things go." Will nodded, a small smile breaking the tension. "Exactly. That's why I called you tonight. No distractions, no interruptions. Just us, focused on what matters." Meanwhile, across town, Katie was dealing with her own whirlwind of decisions. After much deliberation, she finally made a choice that would impact the fashion world. Sitting in her office, she picked up the phone and called the legal team. "It's official," she said. "The fashion house now bears the name I've chosen. I want all documentation updated immediately. We move forward under this name, and there's no turning back." Her mind raced as she thought about the implications. Naming the fashion house was never just a matter of personal preference. It was a statement of vision, influence, and authority. Every move she made carried weight, and this decision would echo across the industry. Back at Will's place, the night deepened, and the two men worked tirelessly. Dylan suggested alterations, discussed color palettes, and debated fabrics. The room was alive with energy, a creative storm fueled by passion and ambition. Each idea bounced off the walls, each suggestion met with careful consideration. "You know," Will said after a pause, rubbing his temple, "I didn't realize how much I'd rely on your instincts tonight. You see things differently. You see possibilities I might miss." Dylan gave a half smile. "That's why you called me, isn't it?" Will chuckled softly. "Maybe it is. Maybe I needed a fresh perspective, someone who isn't clouded by tradition or politics. Someone who can see the house as it could be, not just as it is." The conversation drifted into the early hours, touching on everything from design strategy to personal philosophies about creativity and collaboration. Dylan realized that this invitation wasn't just about immediate projects. It was about trust, partnership, and shared vision. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, a clarity that only came when working alongside someone equally committed to excellence. Meanwhile, Katie's announcement sent ripples through the fashion community. Designers, journalists, and industry insiders reacted quickly, some with enthusiasm, others with skepticism. But Katie was undeterred. The name represented more than branding. It was a declaration, and she was determined to see it flourish under her guidance. As dawn approached, Dylan leaned back, exhausted but invigorated. "I didn't think tonight would turn into a marathon session," he said, stretching his arms. Will laughed, a sound full of relief and satisfaction. "Neither did I," he admitted. "But it was necessary. Things had to get started, and there's no better person than you to help me kick this off." The first light of morning filtered through the blinds, casting long shadows across the sketches and swatches that littered the room. The overnight session had transformed into a crucible of ideas, decisions, and commitment. Dylan knew this was just the beginning. There were challenges ahead, rivalries to navigate, and pressures that could make or break the house. But for now, they had momentum, and momentum was everything. Later, as Dylan prepared to leave, Will clapped him on the shoulder. "Thanks for trusting me tonight. I know it was sudden, but it meant a lot." Dylan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of opportunity. "We're just getting started," he said. Will smiled, a spark of excitement in his eyes. "Yes, we are. And I couldn't ask for a better partner in this." Will took a moment to absorb the quiet. The night had been intense, productive, and revealing. He knew that the days ahead would test them in new ways, but for now, there was satisfaction in the progress made, the trust earned, and the vision set in motion. Meanwhile, Katie's decision began to reverberate. Staff members, designers, and collaborators all adjusted their strategies to align with her bold choice. Conversations in boardrooms, studios, and boutiques carried her influence. Every email, every meeting, every design choice now reflected the authority behind the name she had claimed. Back in his apartment, Dylan reflected on the overnight visit. He realized that some invitations were more than gestures. They were turning points. And tonight had been one of those moments, a moment where trust, creativity, and ambition collided to create something neither man could achieve alone. As the morning sun rose fully, both Dylan and Will knew the fashion house was entering a new chapter. Katie's declaration had set the stage, Will's collaboration had ignited the spark, and Dylan's involvement promised innovation, insight, and energy. The pieces were falling into place, and though challenges loomed, there was no denying the momentum that had been created. And somewhere in the mix of excitement and tension, a single truth was clear. The decisions made tonight, the names chosen, and the trust extended would shape the path ahead. In the world of fashion, power, influence, and vision moved quickly, but tonight, they had carved out a moment of certainty amidst the chaos. With every challenge that awaited, the house stood ready, under Katie's chosen banner, fueled by Will's ambition, and inspired by Dylan's perspective. Together, they would face the trials, the drama, and the opportunities that awaited in the fast-paced, unpredictable world they inhabited. Tonight had set the tone, and the future was theirs to define. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.